and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that we link with the summer transfer move to Arsenal. Coming to you today live from Newark Airport, where we're about to board a flight. We're going to Los Angeles for the next game that Arsenal are playing. I'm joined today by my man Curtis Shaw. You guys will know him from Curtis Shaw TV. He does a bit of transfer stuff over there as well, right? And we were both at the game yesterday in New York, well, New Jersey really, at the Giant Stadium, and it was absolutely incredible. 83,000 fans, Arsenal versus Manchester United. However, we lost 2-0, and we're still moaning about it, we're still groaning. It's not the same as losing in the league, but you never want to lose to United, do you? But, you know, first of all, before we touch on the transfers, what did you make of the game?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot we can take from that game, really, was there? I think, listen, games hinge on chances, don't they? If Martinelli puts us 1-0 up, could be a different game.
Yeah.
You look at the two.
Should have put us 1-0 up.
Yeah, you look at the 2 goals we conceded. It wasn't like United carved us open. We could have avoided both goals.
Big errors.
And I think we're trying things at the moment. It looks like Arteta's experimenting a little bit with a slightly new system, and it just didn't work yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, United looked a little bit hungrier and more aggressive, I felt. So it was disappointing, but like you said, it's better to happen there than first game of the season.
Yeah. And also, what was a real talking point after the game, we've been talking about at the house before we came here to the airport, is the striker situation. Now, Eddie Nketiah started the game, and he played up front. Had a chance later on in the game, really, that, you know, he should either have squared it or scored. He didn't score. We've had the debate whether to get Eddie or should it be Balogun, but then Balogun in the Nuremberg game, he missed a couple of chances. I mean, listen, it's still very, very early in the season, but literally nobody's really banging them in. Jesus scored the other day, but a lot of people after that game were saying, we need a new striker, we need a new striker. You kept hearing it all the times in the interviews.
Yeah.
And I kept asking the question, who is that new striker? Right, now I'm going to run you through a few that possibly could be available, right? Right. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Victor Osimhen of Napoli. Now, it might sound like a ridiculous deal to get done, and it would be extremely expensive, but Corriere dello Sport reporting that he's currently trying to negotiate a new contract, or Napoli are trying to negotiate a new contract with him, and that contract has actually stalled. So could Arsenal possibly make a move for somebody like a Victor Osimhen if they wanted to? He's got 2 years left on his contract. He's got a release, well, he's valued at around about 120 million pounds at the moment. He wants to have a release clause of about 120 million pounds. They want the release clause to be about 170 million pounds. So there's a stalling on it at the moment. I understand, right, through somebody that I know, that Osimhen would love to come and play in the Premier League. Should Arsenal be making a move for this type of player, or is it just completely off the scale?
Listen, it depends how ambitious the Kroenkes are. They have shown a lot of ambition so far this window, but you see the difference what a top striker can make at a club, and I think probably since Aubameyang we haven't really had that prolific goal scorer. Jesus a bit different. Listen, I think Osimhen, you sign a player like that, that's a potential game changer, isn't it? 120 million is big money, but the striker market's so inflated.
That's what I'm saying. His valuation is 120 million pounds. Probably Napoli would be looking for 160, even more. I mean, I think it would be crazy, and that's why, despite some of these rumours, that's why nobody's really noticed. Nobody's really gone in and bid for him yet. And there are loads of teams out there that are looking for strikers, but you know, no one's really bid for him yet. But
Napoli are tough negotiators, man. And listen, I like Osimhen. I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's worth 150 million.
Okay.
Gotta be honest. I'd take him, though.
We'd all take him.
We'd all take him.
All right, here's another one for you, right, who has been getting linked with a lot of clubs. And again, this is a possibility for Arsenal if they really wanted to go down there, and that is Dusan Vlahovic of Juventus, Serbian international, as we know, still only 23. Right, is what a lot of people don't realise. He's still only 23 years old. Now, to Juve, they claim that Chelsea and Manchester United have been showing a big interest in him. Remember the whole thing. Previously, the first club that was, well, the first 2 clubs that went in for him when he was at Fiorentina was us. We went in with a bid. He wasn't interested. He wanted to go to Juventus. He went to Juventus, and it hasn't worked out for him at all at Juventus. Just not been that prolific goal scorer that he was at Fiorentina, and now he's been linked with a move away. I do think he's going to be moving on this summer. As I said, where is he going to end up? His preference probably is to stay in Italy, but could be in the Premier League. Should Arsenal go back in for Dusan Vlahovic?
It's a tricky one. When he was at Fiorentina, he was on fire, wasn't he? We all wanted him. I think we weren't probably in the best of positions at the time, and he'd always spoke about Juventus. It's gone there. I think he only scored about 10 goals last season. They obviously had the points deduction, but I think it's a clash of style, him and Allegri. They don't really play the same way as Fiorentina. I do think we need a plan B. And he would be in probably a more gettable price bracket than Osimhen. Yep. You might pay 60, 70 to get him
70, out. Valuation at the moment is around about 70 million.
70
Obviously,
million,
Juventus would like to push that up and cause some sort of bidding war. It's been a bit strange that nobody's really come rushing in for him as well.
Yeah.
But I do think before the end of the transfer window, he could move. As I said, Chelsea, Man United, who were both teams looking for strikers, said to be interested. But
yeah, I can see him moving. Listen, the problem that Arsenal have got is if you go for a striker, you've got Gabriel Jesus there, so it's whether Arsenal are willing to have another big money striker to compete with him. We were saying you need competition in every position now. It's not you're the first choice, you're the second. It's got to be two top quality players going for it. I do think Vlahovic will move this summer, so if we went for him, I think that is gettable.
Okay, putting it out there to you guys, should we go back in for Dusan Vlahovic? The final one, striker I'm going to talk about is Eli Wahi of Montpellier. Still only 20, 19 goals last season in the French league, in 31 appearances. Lightning quick, good finisher. Recently, Chelsea said to be the clear favourites. RMC, the French outlet, said that Chelsea ready in a bid of around about £28 million. But again, a player that Arsenal been showing a lot of interest in. If you check out the rumours, there's still lots of rumours around him today, linking him with a move to Arsenal. Wahi, should they go for somebody like him?
I think the first argument I would put against that is why sign a guy that scored 19 goals in France when Balogun scored 21 goals in France?
Yep.
Doesn't really make sense to me, and I don't think we need to go for I know he's had a good season last year, but still very unproven. I think we need someone with a bit more status who can challenge Gabriel Jesus. I think we need a more physical presence as well. So he does look sharp, he's exciting, but Balogun scored more goals than him in the same division. So for me, I just wouldn't go for that one really.
That's the problem, the conundrum here, isn't it? When everybody like last night is saying striker, striker, striker.
Yeah.
Who is it? Who is that striker that's available for a decent price? You're seeing that Rasmus Højlund, who's been linked with Man United. They wanted 70 million for him. I mean, he's a 20-year-old who hasn't done nothing really. Looks good, but hasn't been prolific for a couple of seasons. Yeah. I mean, that is the tough thing. Or do we just stick with what we got? We stick with Balogun?
Do you know, for me, it might sound a bit far-fetched, but I would honestly still look at an Ivan Toney deal. I know it sounds a bit crazy because he's banned until January, but I'm thinking you could probably go to Brentford, get him at a reduced price because he's not available. Can you imagine if we was in a good position in January and then a hungry Ivan Toney drops in January? They'd probably take an Eddie Nketiah or a Balogun as part of the deal, I would imagine, would be decent for them. So I wouldn't dismiss that. I don't think Arsenal would go for him because he's got quite bad PR around him with what's happened, but I would still look at something like that.
Okay, well listen, a little bit of a different transfer daily today. I want to find out from you guys, a striker out there that we haven't even mentioned here that you think Arsenal should go for. This Mitrovic, Alexander Mitrovic, right?
I think he's going Saudi.
He's going Saudi, but do Arsenal come in with a little late fee? He's a lot different.
Player.
He's a lot different to what we have. He's good in the air, good hold up play. Right, listen, I want to know from you guys, who do you think that striker is? Because everyone keeps mentioning about striker. We're getting linked with different strikers, but who do you think that striker should be? Listen, Curtis, thanks very much for coming on today. Don't forget you can check out all of AFTV's content. We're heading to Los Angeles right now. Arsenal playing Barcelona in LA, right? Looking forward to that one. And to everybody in New York, New Jersey, here on the East Coast, it's goodbye to you. Thanks for the brilliant hospitality here. But now we're going to the West Coast.